The Influencer's Edge is brought to you by the Rapid Sales Accelerator. If you're ready to skyrocket your sales by 30% or more in just 90 days, then you need to claim your free training right now. You'll learn 4 words that will compel your prospects to trust you like they were children within the first 3 to 5 minutes of any conversation across any platform and any medium. You'll learn how to give your prospects objection amnesia, to crush objections like, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need more time to think it over, or it's too expensive. And finally, you'll get a free recorded audio training that will install unbelievable attitudes for success and wipe out any limiting beliefs. So if you'd like to claim your free training now, go to www.paulrossbook.com. Do it before your competition does it now. Welcome to the Influencer's Edge. This is the place where you come to get the latest breakthroughs, cutting-edge insights, tools, and techniques to leapfrog over the pack in sales, persuasion, and influence. Be sure you visit our website at www.theinfluencersedge.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, tune in, and enjoy today's episode. All right, welcome back to the Influencer's Edge. We have a guest today. We had a talk. Her name is Dr. Ali Griffith. So Dr. Ali, can I call you Dr. Ali?
Absolutely.
We had a little talk before the show in the green room, so to speak, because Dr. Ali, among other things, has dealt with people on the autism spectrum. I was explaining to her that I have a beautiful nephew who I adore, who is also neurodivergent. So I thanked her from the heart for the work she's has done. So thank you, Doc. So let's get going. I'm going to dive into your bio, and everyone who's a regular viewer of this show knows I never get through the bios, but we'll give it our best. So Dr. Ali Griffith is a TEDx speaker, multi-number-1 best-selling author. Wow, multiple, that's quite an achievement. So how many books have you put out there?
3, including my son's.
3, including what?
My son's book.
Fantastic.
Bestseller.
You are an autism mom and renowned business strategist coach. Dr. Ali's professional career as an audiologist and speech language pathologist. What does pathologist mean in the context of speech language? I know what it means in the context of medical examiner and
same thing. It's the dealing with the pathologies that turn in the body, any breakdowns, any challenges in the speech development process, whether it's oral, odor, motor, or communication.
You are decorated with almost a decade of experience helping professional women build profitable businesses. Good for you. On their own terms. Very nice. I like it. Her holistic approach to business strategy and personal. So I'm going to hit the pause button here because people tend to use words like quantum, which makes me and holistic. What do you mean by holistic? I noticed later on you will talk about synergy. So let's define it really clearly. What do you mean? What does Dr. Ali Griffith mean by holistic?
So many people say mind, body, spirit. I more connect with the spiritual, the personal, and the business. That to me is my holistic being for who I am. Whether I'm working on my personal growth, whether I'm working on my personal development growth in terms of me, Alicia, Ali, the mom, the sister, the girlfriend, all the titles that I am, that's my personal growth. And then I have my third part, which is my business as a CEO. So most of my clients that I work with, we work on that as our holistic being, which is our spiritual being, our personal development growth being, and then we do our business being.
Which do you find entrepreneurs tend to ignore the most and where they can get the most leverage shifting? Spiritual. So what does that mean? For example, for me, it means something different. I'm assuming for different people. For me, it's my meditation practice. I cannot function without sitting in meditation and not getting caught up in all my thoughts. So what do you mean by spiritual, and how do you elicit what your client means by that?
So mostly it's with the beyond what's being seen, right? It's the inner being, the inner self. It's the tapping and realigning back into what is beyond what everyone's seen, beyond our five senses. We've been brought up in a world where we're focused on our senses, what we hear, what we see, what we feel, what we touch. And when we take our chance to be still, as you say in meditation, that may be one format. Some may use prayer, some may use just stillness or sitting by the water, or just literally some might use writing as a modality to tap back into their spiritual being. There's so many modalities that's why I say building on your own terms. It's for each individual to find out what works best for them to help them align to their inner self so that they can truly tap into those areas that help them to shift through those really hard moments that's happening outside in the five sense world and five senses world.
I get it. And I can also see how that would help to make sure that your goals are in line with a much greater vision that really serves you. I know in my personal experience and the people I've coached, they're really great entrepreneurs, but they wind up getting their goal, and their goal, they're still miserable because it's not really aligned with who they are deep beneath the surface. So blessings to you that you're bringing that to the table. I think that's a genuine gift that is unique. Thank you for that.
Thank
Uh,
you.
well, you're very welcome. I love pointing out to guests what they're doing. It's just so golden. Um, you do something called EPOP, synergy method. Well, what does EPOP stand for? I'm excited. I'm sure it doesn't stand for exciting Paul on podcast. So it must mean I'm a former failed comedy writer. Really.
I love it, but
Uh,
somebody's typing it out there.
well, I just threw it out there from out of nowhere. I didn't prepare it. What does EPOP mean?
So EPOP in my world, it's working first on our energy, like I said, working on our inner self, creating a plan. It's my method which I use for pretty much everything in my life, whether it's for my spiritual world, it's my personal world, and or my business. It's an offer. I do offers. I have to do an exchange of something. What am I offering out? In the business world, of course, office offers are our packages or products or what we have. For our personal self, we also have offers that we do within ourselves. Like what do we need to get done today? What are some of the goals and things that we need to get accomplished for ourselves?
Pause. That's a very unique angle to look at goals as an offering that you make to yourself. I've never heard that one.
No.
Sorry about that. My internet connection is unstable, but it'll be
That's
edited.
okay. I said the offer, shut it down.
So no. So this idea that a goal is actually an offer that you make to yourself, we must unpack that. So can you help me explore what that is, what that's about?
I, um, you hit it on the nail. It's literally we make a promise, we do an exchange, right? When we are out there and we're doing sales, we're presenting our gifts, we're presenting a product, we're presenting something of value. When we're doing goals, we're presenting ourselves as the value. It's an exchange of ourselves either into the world or to others, which is a goal. Like this year, my goal is to lose 10 pounds. Let's just say that's a goal. And that's a promise to myself. It's an exchange to myself, it's an exchange to my community. It's an offer I make up there also to God, who I choose. So it's actually an exchange of, if I do what I need to do, if I exercise, if I eat healthier, then the exchange of that will be the results. I'll lose some weight. I'll feel better towards the end. I'll get the results of the action. So that began my proposition that this is an offer. It's an opportunity from me to me, or me out to the world. So in the
I I
moment.
I I adore that. Okay, that's a nugget of gold that we're going to put in the show notes.
Thank you.
Her holistic approach to business strategy,
Wait, I didn't
epoch.
get to the last P.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry. And the last P is practice, right? So we have
Yes.
energy, plan, offers, and practice. We got to practice. We got to put it out there. We got to do it. It doesn't just happen once. A lot of us expect everything to happen once in the world, to happen once in our business, and that's just not what it is. We have to practice. All greats have practice. And for you to be great, there has to be some level of practice. That's my
This
piece.
is, and I appreciate that because it goes against our current culture, which is instant gratification, entitlement, now, crazy expectations that the world owes you something. This is the exact polar opposite of that. So it requires the investment, but the investment pays off. So one of my coaches, former coaches, once said, be willing to do things that no one else will do in order to live in ways that no one else will get to live.
Absolutely.
And so I think this is another way of another path you're laying down for people to get to that. This is wonderful stuff.
Thank
And
you.
now we can actually get so what's the art of synergy when it comes to selling?
Ah, so the artist synergy, once again, it's my 1, 2, 3 method. It's the synergistic way of your spiritual being, your personal being, and your business mindset, right? It's aligning the values of each individual, bringing them together, and having a more powerful effect. That's one aspect of the synergy effect, right? The best aspect I like is the fact that we get to do things together. I can do a podcast on my own. You can do a podcast on your own.
Mhm.
Together, we're synergistically more stronger. We have a higher energy, higher vibration when we do things together. So that's my vision when it comes to sales, synergistic entities that we're working together. It's we need to do more things together. Basically, it's like everyone stop doing everything so separately and start aligning yourself with those who you are, and I'm going to say this, assigned and aligned for. Not everyone are supposed to do things together. We have to
Huh.
have some level of connectivity. I love how at the beginning you stopped, and before we began this conversation, you said, hey, let me let you know why we were aligned together. You told me your story and your personal story. When we have something that connects us on a deeper level, it now makes sense why we were put together, why you are now opening up your platform for me to share what I have with the world. And now me sharing my genius, my beauty, my whoever I am, my whole synergistic self, my energy, right, to your world, and now giving them what we have. Together we're stronger. And this is my year of synergy.
Let me push back a little bit on that because I love to push back on my guests. This is what makes it an interesting podcast.
No problem.
I'm 90% in alignment with that.
Mhm.
And not but, I've also found that in working with clients, sometimes they're about 85% of the way there in alignment with me. And my job as a coach is to, I almost said the word kick, but to like lead, kick in the butt, do whatever to dangle the carrot, the stick to get them over that 15%.
Absolutely.
So would you agree that sometimes there's a level to which you're not totally aligned, but it's worth putting in the effort as a leader and a coach to get closer? And if the answer is yes, you have any methodology you use to do that alignment?
Absolutely. So the alignment is the initial attraction. That's what brings us together initially. That's what brings your clients to you initially, why they were assigned you or why they said yes to you and why you said yes to them. It wasn't just them saying yes to you, but you were saying yes to them.
So important.
That's the
So good.
alignment part initially. What's needed next now is now the amplifying part. How do I amplify what you came for? How do I add what I am, what you are, so that you can be greater and so that we can be greater also as coaches? We learn a lot from our clients. And
Oh,
even
hell
though
yeah.
we're here to teach them the things that we are powerfully knowledgeable at, have had dynamic experience, and we will help to elevate them to the levels they came for, just within integrity. We also learn a lot from them. We learn how
Oh,
to navigate different personalities, how, they may be skilled at one area where they're just giving you information about that as you're helping them. And that to me is that synergistic pull where the alignment is the growth of both, even though you're helping them to grow in one capacity. But also, what I tell my coaches is to stop and see, now, why were they put into your life? Why was this client sent for you? And how are you better now as a coach, better now as a leader as a result of having this impact on their life?
true facts. I also think it requires a lot of courage for us as coaches and salespeople, whatever, to admit that we don't know everything and to open the space for our clients to teach us what we need to learn. I've always had the philosophy, I used to actually train men to meet women and be attractive on dates. God's work, not the easiest work. And I had to train them how to have enough compassion. So I talk about 3 C's: have the compassion on yourself, to have the courage to look with clarity at what your patterns actually are. And I think you're coming to the same conclusion through a completely different path. And so I love the synergy that we're creating here.
Yeah, you're getting it. That's
This is
how we know this was already, supposed to happen.
this is beautiful. Thank you. Why the focus on, I know you've already answered this, but let's try it. Why the focus on communication and connection? I think you've already answered it. This is the beauty of blasting past the biography. But do you have anything to add past what we've already spoken?
It's my gift. It's what has happened all my life. Yes, I'm grateful to be trained as an expert with audiology and speech language pathology, but it goes beyond that, the education. It's my experience. It's the ability to connect with others. As an autism mom, I have the ability to feel things at a different capacity and to
Of course,
connect with him and communicate with him that's not even verbal,
of
right? I've
course,
been working in the field with many others, and I
of
help
course,
autism moms in developing that connection.
of
So
course.
that's people who have a different level of connectivity. Now, those who are quote unquote quote typical, right? We are the ones that also have a manner of connectivity where we miss, right? We like how you took the moment to draw our connection before we even have the conversation. That told me how dynamic you were as a person, that you took the time out to see, okay, what do we have in common? And you saw something, and that began this connection that will happen now. um, Taking the time out to identify that it's just what I've done before, being different. I've always been the different one in the room. I've always been the one that stand out from the rest. I used to have a red mohawk. My son is different, so I intentionally made myself physically different so he can understand what it feels like, and I can understand what it feels like to be different. So I would intentionally be different to see how I can still connect with people and communicate with people. And that began to be my strength. People told me
Use
that's
that
what you
word.
do. Like, that's just what they told me. You have the ability to explain something that's so complicated in the most simplest manner. And that's because I've been making things simple for my son and others for so long. Why are
This
they
is so
complicating us with this long thing when they could just say one, two, three? And that's what I did for
This
people.
is this is so beautiful. I want you don't need any gold stars from me, but I want to point something out. Rather than be in victimhood with the challenges with your son, you saw it as a call to step up and become a more heart-centered and better human being. And I'm just wondering, because now it's the time where I put you on my psychologist couch, because now I'm deeply curious. No, in a good way, in a good way, in a good way. Was this born out of, I want you to really think about this. Was this born out of necessity, or did you have it prior to having given birth to your son? And if it was prior, where did you get it? Did you model someone in your life? Was it modeled for you by a parent or family member, or do you understand?
Yep, got you. So this is a twofold question. I'm going to answer it
Yes.
heartfelt. Watching my mom as a single mom, watching her face all adversities that she was put against. I was, they would say, I'm her pocketbook. Wherever she went, I was. She was an educated woman, but had to work in one of the lowest fields. And when they would say in terms of wiping tail, wiping ass, as an educated woman, let's just go back to say that. And watching her do that, I began to realize that she had a strength beyond all capacity, and she'd still smile because she's taking care of her kids and she's doing what she needed to do through that process. When I got served, when I opened up the papers and saw that my son was diagnosed with autism or being on the spectrum, as a professional, I knew it, right? I knew what the signs looked like. As an individual, as a human, I died on the inside.
And as a mom,
As a mom, I felt like the biggest failure in the world. I had a dream in my mind for a perfect child. I was a perfect person in my head. I went to school. I did all the things. I got married. I was educated. Anything I did, and I did that for my mom because I never wanted to be the one to ever bring a tear to her eyes because I saw so many other tears happen. So I became that quote unquote perfect child looking towards this perfection. Now, here I am at that time thinking I was given the imperfect one. I spent years in turmoil helping others outside, showing up and coming out. I always say I close the door and you just see me melt right behind the door before even walking inside. Because I knew once I walked inside, I helped others with their speech. I still have to come and help mine with his development. I didn't want to still keep working. And I was not meant to still be a therapist. I was meant to be his mom. So I did my personal development work. I invested in me. This is why I'm a stand for coaches. I got into the Lisa Nichols campus, motivating the masses. I did the work. I got the help because I was angry. I was angry. I was
what do you
mad. I went
mean?
all the
What do
stages.
you, well, hold on just a second. Let me hit pause.
Yeah.
You seem to me as someone who's as far from angry as is possible. So how did you make what were you angry about? And how did you make the transition from anger to being at peace and open to life and its lessons?
I had the why me syndrome. Everyone has that why me syndrome. When
Yes.
something happens, which everyone has to go through some sort of ordeal. I didn't know that part in life. They forgot that part in the rule book to let
I
us
myself am bipolar. I've
know.
managed my bipolar for 25 years.
Exactly. And we all have something, some challenge or obstacle. You, as listeners, as viewers, you're going to start to identify that we all have something we need to overcome, even though, quote unquote, in the world, no one tells us and teaches us as a child. So we're not prepared when something happens that's not in the textbook or on television of how life should be.
Yes.
So going through the anger and doing the self-development work, I began to read The Secret. I began to read books. I began to do the self-help. I got aligned to the Steve Harvey program. That began the business development. I got aligned to the Lisa Nichols. That's the personal development program. And I stayed inside. They let me in the inside. I don't know how they got it, but they let me in the inside. So that means I worked a lot behind the scenes with her, and she worked with me. She helped me. Her coaches, my coaches, they helped me to understand the beauty in autism, understand how I can use it as a business, how I can help use him as a story, and not really use him as a story, but
I
to
understand.
understand the path that I was given for him
I
can
understand.
help others once I did my work first. So I had to do my work first. And once I began to do my work first, writing the story, I wrote a book on Amazing Gift, A Journey to Autism Acceptance. Writing that story and then speaking, I got called to speak all over the world because I'm now with Lisa Nichols, one of the most requested speakers out there. And I've learned the strategies. And of course, I have an amazing charisma. So anywhere I go, I'm leaving impact. Yes, I got to love myself. Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
no, 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 no. That was a smile of recognition from one charismatic person to another. I get it. If it weren't for my charisma and my hair, I would never get a date.
Therefore, like I'm in a story here, guys. Come with me. So in that process, in that process, telling the story, and the story is my story. Every time I went through it and I spoke about it, I healed. Every time I spoke about it and I coached up on it, I healed. And that's when I began to realize that this was no longer a one direction space. This was a co-symbiotic process that was happening, that as I began to speak more and people began to pour back into me more and tell me their stories, I'd realize that's why I'm here. That's why Zachary's here. That's the process of what we're doing. We can use our platform from autism being something negative to autism being something amazing. And that began All Amazing Gift. And then the business happened. It went from book into videos, into speaking, into a six-figure income, into its own brand, simply from just telling my story and being authentic.
You're a star. There's a movie in you, or a TV show on Netflix or something. I don't know if that's one of your personal goals or not, and you can
Add
keep it
it to my
quiet.
Vision Fest. I
Huh?
receive it. I'm going to add it to my vision board at my
Oh,
Vision Fest.
absolutely add it, because I totally see this as a story that will touch people,
And
both in
he's a star too. I mean, you meet him, he's a ham.
I, I'm not I'm not throwing salt his way in any way. I get it.
Oh, ham.
I, I totally get it. I I'm really enjoying this. I feel a profound heart connection with you that I do not normally feel with my guests. I feel intellectual connections with all my guests, but this is beautiful. Um, any additional self strategies to improve sales conversations? Let's dive a little bit more into the how, the practicality.
Ooh, sales conversations has a lot to do with self. When I speak to my clients and we go through all the technical measures of sales, I can teach technical measures, and we have a modality for that. But technically, everything comes back to: do you see your value? Is there value in what you have to offer? Is there an opportunity for the person on the other side? And can you help them understand that there's an opportunity if that's the right person for whatever you're offering them? If you don't see it and if you don't feel it yourself, then you're selling, right? You're going out there and you're just becoming a salesperson. If you don't believe in what you have, then you are, and that's okay. There are times when you just have to sell. When I worked at McDonald's, I had to sell the burgers. I didn't like the burgers at that time, but I sold the burgers. That's part of what I did. Today, now I get to be integrity and choose what it's aligned with me, what feels good, what I know. If people come to me and they say, "Hey, can you help me? I have a product. I have something I want to have people buy." I say, "Well, let me see it. Let me try it." Right? I need to see it. I need to try it. I need to feel it. If I see that it's of value, yes, I buy all my clients' products. I need to see it. I need to feel it. Once
Whoa.
I do. I
I
do. I
believe
experience everything that they go through. Like all my weight
I
loss clients, I'm in their programs.
I I totally believe you. One of the things I've learned is that some of my best clients, they undervalue, and here's why. It's so their genius is so easy and natural to them. They don't get that they're not their audience. They don't get that their audience doesn't have that genius and ease at what they do. So they make the mistake of thinking, well, this is easy for me, therefore it's not of value, and therefore I can't charge as much as I'm worth. Have you found that in your clients at all?
Absolutely. They don't see their value. Well, they don't see their value. So if they're missing out on their value at times, and they know they're great at what they do, but they still undervalue the transformation that they truly can do at the beginning, right? Some may come in very confident. We have those that come in way too confident sometimes. I'm like, whoa,
That would
bring it
be
back. Whoa, you're missing the whole gamut here. There's absolutely no connection happening right here. So yes, when they begin to understand the value of what they have, and when they begin to see that others are willing to pay, exchange of value. Sales is an exchange of value. You got to understand that. It's if you see your value of your product or your opportunity of being this, then the exchange of value will be whatever number you put in alignment to that. Now that same dollar water is $10, it's $100 in certain places. It's the same. It's a different value, depends on who is the buyer and how would they exchange of the value for that. If they have the capacity to do the exchange for $100, if they are in the space to do $1,000, like they're so amazed that this water is here. You are the last one in the desert. They just finished a marathon. They are
Yes.
at that point. You have the last water that's handed in front of them. And you said to them, oh, this one's $1,000. And there's no one else there with that water or the water that's provided or whatever they may need at that time. And I'm just using a facetious.
No, I get it. I get the metaphor. I'm also picking up a pattern here, which is the idea of exchange. You taught this idea of an exchange is a big thing for you. This is a word. So as someone who studied NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, I've trained myself to notice linguistic patterns in language. One of your big words is exchange. You just explained it in terms of dealing with helping your clients see their value when they exchange their service or product for money. And you also talked about a goal as being an exchange, being an offer of something of value in exchange for getting the result. So I'm noticing that word exchange and the word alignment are really big values for you that you aim for in what you do. I think I got that. I think I see that accurately.
Absolutely. To me, I think in life, what my goal is, my mission is to help people to understand that there is an exchange of energy that is always happening,
Always.
and to be present to that, right? Whether it's to products, to items, to people, and when we begin to tap into that space, I believe that's where our best selves are, our true selves, the things that our most dynamic self that we can be, is to understand, okay, what is the exchange that's meant here? And then how can I take this and use this to the next level? How can I take this to expand the person or expand myself or take myself to the next plane, next level of where I'm truly intended to be? Because we're never expected to stay at one state. We're expected to move into different levels at different times. I mean, that's why we go to school, right? We go to school so we can be a freshman, junior, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. There's always an ascension. People look towards an ascension, right? So that's my mission, is to help people to identify with the exchange, to learn how can you become a better self every single day through variety of exchanges.
Wow, this is almost like sales as a spiritual practice.
Absolutely. Spiritual
I
sales.
think the same thing in a different way, because I believe that when you sell, it's not necessarily about getting your ideas into someone's mind. It's about expanding their mind to include ideas and possibilities they didn't see for themselves. And so in that sense, it's a healing practice and a heroic thing. I have to say, Ali, this has been a wonderful personal exchange. And so I want to, from the heart, thank you, and stay in the green room for a little bit after we're done with the broadcast. I know every one of my viewers who's got an open heart and a sharp mind will want to stay in the conversation with you. We'll put it in the show notes, but I want to know from you, out of your mouth, from you right now, what's the best way to stay in the conversation with you?
Oh wow. So I'm always at Dr. Ali Griffith, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. My gift always, I like to give gifts out, is launch the plan. I'm all about helping people to launch whatever ideas they have, to teach them the manner from launching to sales, from ideas and concept into sale. So that's my gift for anyone who's listening out there and feel that they want to learn a little bit more about incorporating more of the spirituality into their launching and their sales. You'll see my trifecta method, the synergy way we blend that. And I have a lot of things out there. Once you get in my ecosystem, you'll just see which one aligns for you. Whether it's a retreat in Aruba, I bought a house in Aruba, so I've been doing masterminds out there.
Oh, that sounds so fun. One of my dreams is to do retreats in exotic locations. I used to do it.
Bali, Portugal. We went
Oh, I
Portugal
love
this
it.
year. So
I
so much
love it.
we can do. But thank you so much for having me. I
Sure.
really appreciate it.
Sure. It's been my pleasure. We'll see you next time on The Influencer's Edge.
The Influencer's Edge is brought to you by the Rapid Sales Accelerator. If you're ready to skyrocket your sales by 30% or more in just 90 days, then you need to claim your free training right now. You'll learn 4 words that will compel your prospects to trust you like they were children within the first 3 to 5 minutes of any conversation across any platform and any medium. You'll learn how to give your prospects objection amnesia, to crush objections like, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need more time to think it over, or it's too expensive. And finally, you'll get a free recorded audio training that will install unbelievable attitudes for success and wipe out any limiting beliefs. So if you'd like to claim your free training now, go to www.paulrossbook.com. Do it before your competition does it now. Thank you for tuning in to the Influencer's Edge, where you get the latest breakthroughs, cutting-edge insights, tools, and techniques so you can leapfrog over the pack at sales, influence, and persuasion. Remember to visit our website at www.theinfluencersedge.com to enjoy even more great episodes like this one. We look forward to seeing you again on the Influencer's Edge Show.